What's up, guys? Welcome back. And today we're going to be doing kind of a breakdown review of our trip we took last weekend. There's a pretty good chance that we'll be going to do a spring break vlog at Six Flags Over Texas, probably beginning of next week, which is pretty much after this weekend because I have to work. Surprise, surprise. But we're going to talk about our experience at Six Flags Over Texas as a whole. I know I put out a review video that you guys really enjoyed. So if you haven't checked out that video, make sure you go check it out. If you haven't already, I'm going to link it in the description for you guys. Definitely go check it out, leave a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments what you guys think about the review. When we got to the park, well, actually, it wasn't just me and Megan and the kid going this past weekend. We took Asher's mom and her other two kids. They had never been to Six Flags, so we thought it'd be a really good time for them to get out and do something productive. And we thought it'd be really good if I treated her out to come with us, so that way she could see how much fun we have with the kid, and so she could probably accidentally have some herself. And from my understanding, all three of them had a blast. They all had fun. So overall, mission completed. But it was a blast. We really had fun going with them. They ended up leaving towards the second half, probably about 5 o'clock. So we did 3 hours without them, but we didn't expect them to drive 3 hours, stay in the park all the way till close, and then, drive back 3 hours like us crazy people do. So for anyone that thinks that I live anywhere close to Dallas or anywhere close to Six Flags Over Texas, we don't. We have to drive literally 2.5, 3 hours to go to Six Flags. We stay in the park all day, and then we drive back home, and then I get home and I go in and I edit the video from the day. So that's just an idea of how much it is to go to one of these parks. But they stayed till about 5, and it was all fine and dandy. When we originally got into the park, went through the line, I did like the way that Six Flags had changed their membership entry process. Originally you had walked in and the membership line was right there, and it was hectic to get into, and it was just, so they took out the gate that was blocking it up and all that, and they just made an entire section a completely different line, kind of like it at Six Flags Fiesta Texas, where it's all the way, like there's two sections of the line to get into the membership check-in. Six Flags Over Texas did something similar to that, which I thought worked a lot better, and it was way more organized and looked a lot better that way as well. There wasn't a bunch of clutter in one little area. Once we got into the park, the kids were automatically intrigued because they saw Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck right behind the 60th anniversary picture thing. These are the pictures that we took from those. So that was really good. It was definitely a good first impression for sure. And then in the background there was the jazz band. Not really a jazz band, but there was some kind of band playing back there with the banjo and the baritone and stuff like that. So that was really dope. But they were only there for a period of time. By the time we got our flash passes and went to the carousel, they had already left. But they're only there for a little bit of time, and I think they only play like spots here and there. We wanted to go to the park because there was absolutely no events going on. The Fire and Ice event was over and done with. Spring break hadn't started yet, so I thought it would be a good time to go to the park with no events going on, where it's just straight, riding and grinding. It's just a lot of fun to see how good the park would operate with no events at all, nothing special going on. And I was fairly impressed. When we got there, I left and went and did the park review. Took me about 2.5, 3 hours to do it. When I had met up with them, this is a good time for a story on this whole topic. So there are two types of kids in this world. There are kids that are talking about it, and then there are kids that like to be about it. Asher's big brother decided he was going to talk about it, and he thought that he was going to be about it. So I was like, okay, what's a roller coaster that'd be really good for kids, to kind of start them out on? So I said, let's go to Judge Roy Scream, because it's an older, really shitty roller coaster that's rough as hell, but it's really not that tall, it's really not that intense, and it's pretty lame as far as of intensity and airtime and anything like that. So we decided to take them over there, And so Chelsea wanted me to ride. She didn't want to ride it, and I was just like, hey, if you don't ride, one of your kids is going to be sitting by themselves. What happens if they freak out? So she kind of had to ride because she didn't have a choice. So it was pretty cool. She asked me, she said, oh, it's really not all that high. No. So we asked the kids if they were going to ride. And Asher's big sister said, yeah, I'll ride. Big brother said, yeah, I'll ride. So all four of us go in there and we get in line. We're sitting there in line as we're waiting. And everything's fine. We get strapped in and everything. Chelsea's a little nervous about the ride. And I told her, it's nothing to be worried about. This ride sucks. And I said, it really does. It just really sucks. I didn't take into account that what sucks for me wouldn't suck for someone that would be considered as the general public. Someone that doesn't ride roller coasters every month and every weekend. So I didn't take that into account because, well, it's just more comical that way. And it's better content. So what happens is we get on the ride starts, and her oldest son just says, oh man, this is fun, this is great, this is fun, this is fun. Yeah, so we're going up the lift hill, and it's all great. He's still saying the same thing. This is fun, this is great. And then Asher's big sister sitting right next to me, she's just sitting there, and she's like, she's not making a peep, not making anything. So I automatically think, okay, is she nervous? Is she freaking out? I said, she's really spaced out right now. What the hell is going on here? So we get down there, and then we get to the top of the lift hill, and we're getting ready to go down to the first drop. And then we take the first drop. And then all I hear behind me is some little boy screaming. And I'm talking about he is just not screaming like a normal scream on a roller coaster. This kid is screaming like blood-curdling scream. And so I'm like, this kid, I'm going to have to take this kid on more rides with me. We might have to go ride Mr. Freeze with him. And then I happen to just turn around, and this kid is losing it. Like, he completely lost it. And he's just sitting there. We go through the ride, and his big sister sitting next to me still ain't making a sound. She's not saying wee. She's not screaming in fear. She's not doing anything. She's just sitting there. A lot like me, just sitting there waiting for the ride to be over with. Because trust me, I couldn't wait for the ride to be over with because the ride sucks, and it feels like riding Judge Roy's screen is the equivalent of having eternal bleeding from a kidney stone. That is about what it feels like when you're riding that thing. It is very, very rough. And the bad thing is we were riding towards the front of the car, which is supposed to be the smoothest part. But anyway, back to the story. So we get off the ride. We hit the brake run right at the end. And I turn around. I told him, hey, just calm down. Just relax. It's just the adrenaline right now. He's shaking. His mom's shaking. I said, just relax and calm down. It's just the adrenaline going. Once you calm down a little bit, the adrenaline will pass. Give it a few minutes. It'll be all right. So, and then he says the most famous line of all. And he doesn't just say it. He just yells it and screams it. I don't know if it was out of anger or if it was out of the fact that you made me get on this ride, blah, 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 blah. I said, you the one that wanted to come over here and ride this ride. You were talking about you was having so much fun. And then he looked at me and we got off the ride and he just yells at the top of his lungs, you tricked me! You tricked me! And he kept saying, I hate you. You tricked me to get on this thing. And I'm sitting there and I could not contain it anymore. I just start dying laughing so hard because it's hard not to laugh at something like that because he was talking about he wanted to ride this ride. It's not that high. This ride sucks. Let's ride it. Okay. Yeah, let's get on it. It's fun. And then, oh my God, he loses his mind. It was great. It was probably the most fun I'd had on a roller coaster in a very, very, very long time. Since the first time that I took Megan on freaking Texas Giant, and she was sitting there nervous, and this is way better than that. You can't rehearse anything like this. The only thing that I didn't like is the fact that I wasn't able to record any of it. If I had been able to record any of it, I'm telling you right now, NBC and CNN would have had a blast with this ride. With that video, they would have had a blast with it. It was the best part of my day. It really was. But after a period of time, he calmed down some, obviously. He calmed down. And so me and his big sister and Megan all went and rode Pandemonium. And she started saying, wee! So she was wanting to go on Texas Giant. But her mom was like, I don't know. That's really high. I don't want her going on something that big. So I was like, okay. So, and she has the right to say so. She just doesn't want anything to happen to her baby. So nothing wrong with that at all. But taking them on that trip was probably the best thing that we could have done, because, man, I'm going to tell you right now, this kid, bro, he just cracked me up so much. It was just so funny. You tricked me! You tricked me! And when he says it, he's saying it while he's crying still. It is so great. It is so great. Victory. But the good thing about it is, even though he was scared to ride rides, do you think he quit and he didn't like the ride? He kept riding rides for the rest of the day. He tried to have as much fun as he did, and when it was time to go home, he didn't want to leave like any other kid would have. That was a pretty funny story, and I thought I would share it with you guys for any kids that you want to take that are around the rides of wanting to ride roller coasters. Judge Roy Scream is a good starting point for them, but man, if you get kids, there are definitely kids that talk about doing it and that want to be about doing it. So I just thought it was a funny story to share with you guys. And if you guys like the story, smash the thumbs up button, man. And we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.